Introduction to the Art of Strategic Thinking. How to outsmart any challenge and win big in life. Have you ever felt like life is a game, but no one ever taught you the rules? You work hard. You chase goals. You handle problems the best way you can. But deep down, you know something's missing. The truth is, success in life isn't just about hard work, talent, or luck. It's about thinking strategically. The people who rise to the top in business, relationships, and life aren't always the smartest or strongest. They're the ones who can see the bigger picture, predict outcomes, and make calculated moves when others act on impulse. This book is your unfair advantage. The Art of Strategic Thinking will teach you how to outthink obstacles, outsmart competition, and win big, no matter what life throws your way. You'll learn how to see hidden patterns, decode people's real motives, and turn setbacks into stepping stones for massive success. This isn't theory. These are real mental frameworks used by military leaders, top CEOs, master negotiators, and high achievers worldwide, simplified, practical, and ready for you to use. Here's the truth. If you don't control your mind will control you. If you don't play the game strategically, you'll always play on someone else's terms. But after reading this book, you'll think sharper, move smarter, and handle life like a master strategist. If you're ready to stop reacting and start winning, this is your moment. And before you dive in, make sure to subscribe to my newsletter for bonus tools, exclusive content, and real-world examples that will take your strategic thinking even further. You'll find the link at the end of this book. The game of life is happening, whether you're ready or not. Let's make sure you're ready to win. Chapter 1. Think 2 moves ahead. Have you ever made a quick decision, only to regret it later because you didn't see the consequences coming? Most people operate in reaction mode. They handle situations as they arise, reacting emotionally, choosing the easiest option, or doing what feels good in the moment. But strategic thinkers, they think 2 moves ahead. They anticipate what's coming. They see the chain reaction their choices will create, and they position themselves to win, not just now, but later. This chapter is about mastering that mindset. If life is a chessboard, most people play checkers. They make obvious one-step moves, thinking only about the present. But chess champions? They're always thinking beyond the immediate, analyzing options, spotting risks, and predicting reactions. That's the habit you need if you want to outsmart challenges and win big in life. Here's why this is essential. Every decision creates a ripple effect. That small argument with a colleague, it might affect your reputation for months. That job you accept without thinking, it could trap you in a dead-end career. That impulsive purchase, it might set you back financially. But when you pause and think 2 moves ahead, everything changes. Start asking yourself, if I do this, what happens next? And then what? This simple mental habit forces your brain to play out scenarios like a strategist. It helps you avoid emotional traps, spot hidden consequences, and recognize better opportunities. You stop reacting blindly and start acting with intention. Let me give you an example. Imagine you're offered a promotion that looks great on paper, but thinking 2 moves ahead reveals the truth. It requires 70-hour work weeks, impacts your health, and limits family time. The short-term prestige isn't worth the long-term cost. You decline, and 6 months later, a better opportunity aligned with your life goals appears. That's the power of forward thinking. Strategic leaders, elite athletes, successful entrepreneurs, they all use this approach. They don't just focus on immediate wins. They play the long game. They make moves today that set them up for success tomorrow, next year, and beyond. It doesn't mean overthinking everything to the point of paralysis. It means practicing deliberate, strategic thinking. pausing before action, considering consequences, and evaluating options. Over time, it becomes second nature. Here's your quick exercise. Before your next major decision, whether it's a conversation, investment, relationship move, or career choice, stop and ask, what's the first consequence of this choice? What happens after that? Does this move position me closer to my long-term success or trap me? The most successful people didn't get there by chance. They got there by consistently thinking 2 or 10 moves ahead. You can too. In this book, we'll sharpen that skill together so you no longer react to life. You strategically design it. Ready to outthink the game? Let's keep going. Chapter 2. Outsmart? Don't outwork. You've probably heard the phrase. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. But what most people won't tell you is that hard work alone isn't enough. At least not if you want to. Win big. In fact, millions of people work themselves to exhaustion every day and still stay stuck. The reason? They work hard, but they don't work smart. Strategic thinkers understand a powerful truth. Success isn't about burning yourself out. It's about leveraging your mind to multiply your results. You don't need to be the person working the longest hours. You need to be the person making the smartest moves. Let's break this down with a simple example. Imagine 2 people trying to climb a mountain. One starts sprinting up the steepest side, pouring all their energy into the climb, exhausted by the halfway mark. The other person studies the terrain, finds a safer, easier path, and reaches the top with energy to spare. Both had the same goal, but only one used strategy to win. The world often glorifies hustle culture. The idea that success comes from grinding 24/7, sacrificing health, relationships, and peace of mind. But what's the point of success if you're too drained to enjoy it? That's why strategic thinking is your secret weapon. It lets you get ahead while preserving your energy, your clarity, and your life. Here's what most high achievers eventually discover. Smart thinking creates leverage. One great idea, connection, or decision can produce more results than months of hard work. Effort is finite. Strategy is limitless. You can only work so many hours, but strategic moves compound over time, creating exponential growth. Working smarter protects you from burnout. The goal isn't to crawl across the finish line exhausted. The goal is to win. SUSTAINABLY. Think about legendary entrepreneurs like Steve Jobs or Elon Musk. Do you think they succeeded by being the hardest worker in the building? No, they succeeded by being the smartest thinker in the building. They made strategic bets, identified opportunities others missed, and leveraged other people's time, talent, and resources to win. In your life, that starts with asking better questions. What's the smartest way to solve this? Where can I use leverage, time, tools, people to accelerate results? Am I working hard on the right things or just staying busy? Busy people chase tasks. Strategic thinkers chase impact. They know 20% of actions produce 80% of results, so they focus on high-value moves, not exhausting routines. You still need discipline. You still need commitment. But without strategy, hard work becomes a trap, keeping you spinning your wheels instead of moving forward. Outsmarting the game doesn't mean avoiding effort. It means channeling your effort with precision. From this chapter forward, I want you to shift your mindset. Stop glorifying struggle. Start glorifying strategy. The smartest players in life don't just work harder. They work wiser, and they win bigger because of it. Let's dive deeper. Your next strategic edge is waiting. Chapter 3. The power of perspective shifts. Have you ever noticed how 2 people can face the exact same situation, yet one feels stuck, while the other sees opportunity? The difference isn't luck or talent. It's perspective. Your perspective shapes how you see problems, possibilities, and decisions. Strategic thinkers know how to shift their perspective, and that skill often separates winners from those who stay stuck. Perspective is your mental lens. It filters how you interpret events, challenges, and even your own potential. But here's the secret. Your perspective isn't fixed. You can train your mind to shift angles, break mental patterns, and see hidden opportunities where others only see obstacles. Let's take a real-world example. Imagine losing your job. Most people's first perspective is fear, frustration, even self-doubt. But a strategic thinker steps back, shifts the lens, and asks, what opportunity does this create? How can I reposition myself for something better? What new skills or directions can I explore now? Suddenly, what seemed like a dead end becomes a strategic opening. That's the power of perspective. When you learn to shift your viewpoint, you turn problems into puzzles, and puzzles have solutions. Think about history's greatest leaders, entrepreneurs, and innovators. They didn't succeed because life handed them easy paths. They succeeded because they trained their minds to look at the world differently. Where others saw risks, they saw rewards. Where others saw limitations, they saw leverage. Perspective shifting also builds emotional resilience. When you're stuck in one rigid mindset, every setback feels permanent. But when you teach your mind to look from new angles, you gain control. You realize circumstances are temporary, and your thinking determines your next move. Here's how to practice perspective shifts like a strategist. Ask, what am I missing? Most people only see the obvious. Step back and explore hidden factors, potential allies, or overlooked resources. Reverse the scenario. What if the challenge is actually happening for you, not to you? This flips frustration into curiosity, and curiosity fuels solutions. Adopt the outsider view. Imagine you're advising a friend facing your exact situation. Often, we're clearer when we remove personal emotion from the equation. Zoom out to the long game. How will this situation look in 5 years? Strategic thinkers avoid overreacting to short-term discomfort by focusing on long-term positioning. Every time you shift your perspective, you strengthen your mental flexibility, and that's a superpower. It allows you to adapt, reframe, and outthink challenges that stop others in their tracks. In life, success rarely comes from rigid thinking. It comes from fluid, adaptable thinking, the ability to see beyond the surface, question assumptions, and unlock possibilities others miss entirely. Your mind is your greatest tool, but only if you train it to shift, stretch, and explore new angles. Master this, and you'll never look at challenges the same way again. You won't just react, you'll strategically respond, opening doors others never even notice. Let's keep sharpening your thinking. Your next advantage awaits. Chapter 4. Emotional control equals strategic control. Have you ever made a decision in the heat of the moment, only to regret it later? Maybe you snapped at someone, walked away from an opportunity, or acted out of fear, all because emotions hijacked your thinking. Don't worry, we've all been there. But if you want to master the art of strategic thinking, there's one skill you must develop: emotional control. Here's the hard truth. In high-pressure situations, emotions often override logic. Fear makes us hesitate. Anger makes us reckless. Excitement blinds us to risks. And when emotions run the show, strategy goes out the window. That's why the most successful leaders, entrepreneurs, negotiators, and thinkers have one thing in common. They know how to control their emotions. To control the outcome, think of your emotions like the weather. You can't stop the storm from coming, but you can prepare for it. You can decide how you'll respond, calmly, logically, with your bigger goals in mind. That's emotional control. It's not about suppressing feelings. It's about managing them so they don't sabotage your thinking. Here's why this matters. Your emotions influence your decisions, and your decisions shape your future. Imagine you're in a business negotiation. The other side triggers you with criticism or pressure tactics. If you let frustration take over, you react impulsively, make a poor offer, or walk away from a deal that could have been a win. But if you stay composed, observe their strategy, and think clearly, you position yourself to outsmart them and win. Strategic thinkers treat emotions like data, not dictators. They feel the fear but move forward anyway. They sense the anger but pause before reacting. They experience the excitement but slow down to evaluate risks. The good news? Emotional control is a skill, and like any skill, it can be trained. Here's how to start. Pause before you react. When triggered, take a deep breath. Count to 5. This short pause gives your logical brain time to catch up with your emotional brain. Label the emotion. Name what you're feeling. Fear, frustration, insecurity, excitement. Neuroscience shows that labeling emotions reduces their intensity and restores clarity. Shift to long-term thinking. Ask yourself, how will I feel about this decision tomorrow, next week, 5 years from now? This disrupts emotional hijacking and reactivates your strategic mind. Rehearse high-stakes scenarios. Visualize stressful situations in advance. Mentally practice staying calm and focused. This builds emotional resilience for when real pressure hits. Remember this. In any challenge, relationships, career, negotiations, competition, the person with the most emotional control holds the power. They stay grounded while others panic. They stay calculated while others crumble. That's true strategic advantage. Life will always throw curveballs. But with emotional control, you respond with precision, not panic. You become the calm strategist. Steady, sharp, and always thinking 3 steps ahead. Master your emotions. And you master the game. Let's keep building your strategic edge. Your next power play is coming. Chapter 5. Decode hidden agendas in life. What people say and what they really mean are often two very different things. You've probably experienced this already. The polite colleague who secretly competes with you, the friend who gives advice with strings attached, or the negotiator who hides their true bottom line. Welcome to the world of hidden agendas, where success belongs to those who can read between the lines. Here's the truth no one tells you. Everyone has an agenda. That doesn't always mean it's malicious. Sometimes it's self-interest, ambition, fear, or protection. But make no mistake, whether in business, relationships, or social circles, unspoken motives are always at play. Strategic thinkers don't take things at face value. They observe actions over words, question surface-level intentions, and decode the hidden drivers influencing people's behavior. This skill, reading hidden agendas, gives you a massive advantage. You stop being manipulated, you anticipate moves, and you position yourself to win. Think about successful negotiators, master influencers, or top leaders. They aren't just listening to words. They're watching body language, analyzing patterns, noticing inconsistencies, and identifying what's left unsaid. They ask, what's this person's real goal? What do they stand to gain? What are they not telling me? Here's how you can start decoding hidden agendas like a strategist. Watch for contradictions. Do their actions align with their words? When people say one thing but do another, their real agenda often reveals itself. Follow the incentives. Ask, what do they stand to gain or lose? Most hidden agendas are rooted in self-preservation, ambition, status, or control. Identify these motivators to predict behavior. Listen for what's missing. Strategic thinkers pay attention to what people don't say. Gaps in information, avoidance, or vague answers often hide deeper motives. Read the energy, not just the words. Body language, tone, hesitation. These subtle cues reveal more than polished words ever will. Nervous gestures or forced enthusiasm often signal hidden concerns or agendas. Let's take an everyday example. Imagine a coworker enthusiastically supporting your project, but their body language is tense, and they keep changing the subject when you mention your success. Their words say they're with you, but their energy suggests insecurity or competition. Recognizing this lets you adjust your strategy, perhaps collaborating carefully or preparing for resistance. The goal isn't to become paranoid. It's to become aware. Most people operate blindly, assuming everyone's being transparent. Strategic thinkers know better. They stay alert, curious, and calculated. When you master the art of decoding hidden agendas, you gain control. You see the moves behind the moves, the true intentions beneath the surface. This allows you to navigate politics, business, relationships, and high-stakes situations with clarity and confidence. Remember, in every room, every deal, every interaction, hidden motives are at play. The person who sees them first wins. Ready to sharpen your strategic advantage even more? Let's keep going. Chapter 6. Turn setbacks into strategic leverage. If there's one thing life guarantees, it's this: you will face setbacks. Rejection, failure, embarrassment, loss. No matter how smart, talented, or hardworking you are, obstacles are part of the journey. But here's what separates average thinkers from strategic thinkers: the ability to turn every setback into leverage for greater success. Most people see setbacks as dead ends. They get discouraged, lose confidence, or quit altogether. But strategic thinkers see setbacks as data, as raw material for growth, and as unexpected doorways to new opportunities. In fact, some of the most powerful success stories in history were built on the foundation of failure. Think about it. Every failure exposes your weaknesses, reveals blind spots, and tests your resilience. But within that struggle lies a hidden advantage, insight. Setbacks show you what doesn't work, which forces you to pivot, improve, and come back stronger. Take Thomas Edison, for example. He famously failed thousands of times while inventing the light bulb. But instead of seeing those failures as reasons to give up, he used them as feedback. Every failure eliminated an option and brought him one step closer to success. That's strategic leverage in action. Here's the mindset shift you must adopt. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of the success formula. Strategic thinkers embrace failure, extract lessons, and reposition themselves for a smarter comeback. So how do you turn setbacks into leverage? Let me show you. Detach emotion from evaluation. The first reaction to failure is often emotional: frustration, embarrassment, self-doubt. But once those feelings pass, step back and analyze the situation with a clear, logical mind. Ask, what is this setback teaching me? Extract the hidden lesson. Every failure contains valuable information about your approach, your strategy, your environment, or your mindset. Identify the specific lesson and use it to upgrade your thinking. Reframe the narrative. Shift your self-talk. Instead of, I failed, say, I learned. Instead of, this is over, say, this is redirecting me. Your internal narrative determines whether a setback becomes leverage or a limitation. Leverage the experience. Strategically use your setback to refine your skills, strengthen your resilience, or open new opportunities. Sometimes rejection closes one door but forces you to discover a better one. Let me be clear. Turning setbacks into leverage doesn't mean pretending everything is perfect. It means facing adversity head-on, extracting value from the struggle, and using that experience as fuel for your next move. The most successful people aren't the ones who avoid failure. They're the ones who use failure as a tool. They turn rejection into motivation mistakes into wisdom, and obstacles into stepping stones for greater achievements. So, the next time life knocks you down, don't just bounce back smarter, stronger, and more strategically prepared. Your next challenge is your next opportunity, if you know how to leverage it. Let's keep building your advantage. Chapter 7. Pattern Recognition. Your Hidden Superpower 1. Of the most powerful and most underrated skills in strategic thinking is the ability to recognize patterns. While most people focus on isolated events, strategic thinkers spot the connections. They see the cycles, trends, and behaviors that quietly repeat over time. Pattern recognition is your hidden superpower, and once you develop it, you'll start seeing opportunities and threats long before others do. Here's the secret. Life, business, and human behavior are not random. They follow predictable patterns. People repeat habits. Markets move in cycles. Success and failure often leave clear trails. But the problem is, most people are too busy reacting to notice these patterns. Think about great investors, world-class athletes, or master chess players. They win not because they're the fastest or the strongest, but because they can spot patterns faster than anyone else. They can predict what's coming next based on subtle cues most people miss. For example, in negotiations, someone who always avoids direct answers when money is mentioned is probably signaling a pattern of financial insecurity or negotiation. Pressure. In business, a company that repeatedly launches similar products might reveal a pattern of playing it safe, signaling an opportunity for disruption. In relationships, a friend who consistently disappears when you need them is showing a clear pattern of unreliability, no matter what excuses they give. Your ability to notice these patterns gives you the upper hand. You start seeing what's really happening, not just what's being said. You can predict likely outcomes, adjust your strategy in advance, and make smarter, faster decisions. So, how do you develop this skill? Slow down and observe. In a fast-paced world, most people rush from one task to another without reflecting. Strategic thinkers slow down, step back, and actively observe repeated behaviors and recurring situations. Look for repetition. Pay attention to what happens over and over again in people's choices, in your own habits, in market trends, or even in your failures. Patterns usually hide in what feels normal because they happen so often. Ask, what usually happens next? Train your brain to anticipate outcomes based on past behavior. If someone consistently delivers late, what's likely to happen next? If you always procrastinate in the same situation, what's the pattern? Prediction sharpens your strategic advantage. Document what you notice. Keep a pattern journal. Write down what you observe in people, situations, and yourself. Over time, you'll start seeing powerful trends that can help you make better decisions and avoid costly mistakes. Recognizing patterns isn't about being perfect. It's about increasing your ability to forecast and prepare. It allows you to outmaneuver challenges before they become threats, and to capitalize on opportunities before they become obvious. The best part? Once you master pattern recognition, you'll move through life with sharper intuition, faster reactions, and better results. You'll start playing life like a grandmaster, thinking ahead, spotting moves before they happen, and always positioning yourself to win, ready to sharpen your decision-making under pressure. Let's keep building your advantage. Chapter 8. Strategic Decision-Making Under Pressure. Let's face it, anyone can make good decisions when life is calm, the stakes are low, and there's plenty of time to think. But real success, the kind that separates average performers from strategic thinkers, comes from the ability to make great decisions under intense pressure. Pressure exposes people. It triggers emotions, clouds judgment, and shrinks thinking. In those moments, most people panic, overreact, or freeze. But strategic thinkers? They stay calm, focused, and calculated. They understand that your ability to stay sharp under pressure is a competitive advantage and a skill you can develop. Think about a world-class athlete taking the game-winning shot, a military leader making a life-or-death call, or a CEO navigating a business crisis. Their success comes not from luck, but from preparation, emotional control, and having a decision-making framework ready before pressure strikes. Here's the first rule of strategic decisions under pressure. Don't rely on emotion. Rely on process. When your heart is racing and your mind feels overwhelmed, you need a system to guide you, not your instincts alone. Here's a proven, simple framework used by strategic thinkers when the pressure is on. Pause and breathe. The first mistake most people make under pressure is reacting instantly. Strategic thinkers pause, take a deep breath, and create space between stimulus and response. That short pause restores clarity. Clarify the real problem. Pressure often distorts reality. Ask yourself, what exactly is the core problem I'm solving? Strip away distractions and focus only on the key issue at hand. Assess the consequences. Under stress, people tend to focus only on the short term. Strategic thinkers zoom out. They ask, what are the long-term impacts of this decision? How will this affect me, my team, or my goals weeks, months, or years from now? Evaluate the options. Never assume there's only one way out. Even under tight deadlines, step back and list possible choices. The best options often reveal themselves when you refuse to rush. Decide and own it. Once you've analyzed your options, commit with confidence. Strategic thinkers understand that hesitation under pressure can be more dangerous than making an imperfect choice. The key is practice. You can't expect to think clearly in a high-pressure situation if you've never trained your mind to stay composed. Start with small challenges, difficult conversations, deadlines, or conflicts, and apply this framework. Over time, your ability to make smart, strategic decisions under stress will sharpen. It's also vital to reflect after the pressure passes. Ask yourself, did I make the best choice? What worked? What can I improve next time? Every experience builds your mental toughness and decision-making precision. Remember, in life's biggest moments, the job interviews, negotiations, business deals, or crisis, the person who stays calm, strategic, and decisive holds the power. When others fold under pressure, you will rise, clear, focused, and always ready to win. Let's keep sharpening your strategic mind. The next lesson is your next advantage. Chapter 9. Outsmarting complexity with simplicity in a world overflowing with information. Constant noise and endless options. It's easy to get overwhelmed. Complexity is everywhere. Complicated business models, overthinking decisions, chaotic schedules, and layers of unnecessary steps. But here's the truth the smartest strategic thinkers understand. Complexity slows you down. Simplicity speeds you up. The most effective people in the world have mastered the art of cutting through the noise and simplifying everything. They know how to strip away distractions, identify what really matters, and focus on clear, simple strategies that deliver results. Let me be clear. Simplicity doesn't mean being simplistic. It doesn't mean ignoring important details or oversimplifying complex problems. It means having the mental discipline to untangle the chaos, filter the noise, and create focused, effective solutions. Think about companies like Apple. Their success is built on simple, clean, user-friendly products. Behind the scenes, the technology is complex, but from the user's perspective, it's seamless. That's strategic simplicity in action. Now, apply this to your life. When your goals are overly complicated, you hesitate. When your schedule is cluttered, you lose focus. When your plans have too many moving parts, they collapse under pressure. Complexity creates confusion, and confusion kills momentum. Strategic thinkers are constantly asking, what's the core issue here? They break problems down to their simplest form so they can solve them faster. Where's the unnecessary complexity? They identify tasks, processes, or thinking patterns that overcomplicate progress and eliminate them. What's the simplest, most effective next step? Instead of getting stuck planning 100 moves ahead, they focus on clear, immediate actions that build momentum. Here's a real-world example. Imagine you want to start a business. Many people overcomplicate this with endless research, fancy logos, complex marketing plans, and unnecessary expenses. The strategic thinker simplifies. What's the simplest product I can offer that solves a real problem? That clarity allows them to take action fast or take personal productivity. People load their to-do lists with dozens of tasks. But strategic thinkers apply the 80-20 rule. -20% of actions produce 80% of results. They simplify by focusing only on the few actions that truly move the needle. Simplicity also boosts confidence. Complexity breeds overwhelm. But when your strategy is clear and simple, you feel in control. You make faster decisions. You execute with precision. You create momentum, and momentum builds success. The most powerful strategies are often the simplest. Think about military leaders, elite athletes, or top negotiators. They rely on simple, repeatable systems under pressure. Complicated plans fall apart in chaos, but simple, focused strategies win the game. So, from this chapter forward, make simplicity your competitive advantage. Whether you're solving problems, building a business, making life decisions, or designing your day, simplify, clarify, and strip away the unnecessary. When others drown in complexity, you'll cut through the noise, clear, focused, and ready to win. The smartest move is often the simplest one. Let's keep building your strategic advantage. Chapter 10. Play the long game. Win for life in a world obsessed with instant results, quick fixes, and overnight success stories. Most people have forgotten the most powerful strategic principle of all. Play the long game. The truth is, real success isn't built in a week, a month, or even a year. It's built through consistent, patient, forward-thinking action. The kind of action that positions you to win, not just today, but for the rest of your life. Look at the world's most successful entrepreneurs, investors, athletes, or leaders. Their wins weren't based on luck or shortcuts. They mastered the art of thinking long-term, making decisions that may not bring immediate rewards, but compound into massive success over time. The problem? Most people are addicted to short-term gratification. They chase quick wins, immediate recognition, or fast money. But this mindset creates fragile success. Success that crumbles under pressure or fades quickly. Strategic thinkers know better. They understand that lasting success is like building a skyscraper. It takes time to lay the foundation. But once it's done, everything else rises faster and stronger. Playing the long game means prioritizing sustainable growth over temporary hype. You resist shortcuts that lead to burnout, reputation damage, or short-lived results. Investing in relationships, skills, and habits that may not pay off immediately, but create long-term opportunities, credibility, and strength. Delaying gratification when necessary, knowing that real rewards come to those with patience, persistence, and discipline. Here's a real-world example. Imagine two professionals. One jumps from job to job, chasing higher paychecks, but never building deep expertise or a strong network. The other stays focused, develops rare skills, builds lasting relationships, and by year 5 becomes the go-to expert in their field, earning more with greater stability and influence. That's the long game in action. Playing the long game also protects you from emotional decisions. When you only think short-term, every setback feels catastrophic. But when you zoom out and think in years, not days, you realize most challenges are temporary, and patience often leads to better outcomes. This mindset applies to everything: building wealth, mastering your craft, improving health, or strengthening relationships. For example, investing small amounts consistently may seem slow at first, but compounded over years, it builds financial freedom. The same applies to learning. Reading one book won't change your life overnight, but a consistent learning habit sharpens your mind for decades. The key is to ask, will this decision benefit me 5 years from now? Am I building temporary success or lifelong advantage? Short-term thinkers win small battles. Long-term thinkers win the entire war. And in the end, life rewards those who play the long game, with more wealth, stronger influence, deeper confidence, and sustainable success. So from this moment on, adopt the long game mindset. Be patient. Be strategic. Think beyond today, because that's how you outsmart challenges and win for life. Your strategic journey is just beginning. Keep thinking ahead, and success will follow.